My next guest takes on Rashad Coulter coming up here at UFC 225 on June 9th. It is Chris De La Rocha joining me here on the program for the very first time. Chris, how are you?
Doing excellent. It's
awesome.
Good Sunday morning.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Is Sunday sort of like a recovery day for you, or do you actually go into the gym on Sundays?
Yeah, no, Sunday's my recovery day. Take that rest day. Got to have that rest day to recover for the rest of the week. So,
yeah. And not just your body, but I'm sure your mind too, doing, that many repetitions of things and, just the monotony of training. I'm sure you need kind of that mental break too.
Yeah, between the stress of training, also I'm in school.
Oh, cool.
And then also dealing with just the traveling plans and all that type of stuff. Sunday is definitely a needed day of mental and physical stress. So,
what are you going to school for?
I'm trying to become an emergency medical technician. I'm trying to get on with one of our local fire departments.
Excellent. So. And how's that going, balancing school and training and everything like that? I'm sure it's a little hectic at times.
Yeah, a little stressful. Last week I had a midterm, so that was an interesting balancing act of studying and doing all my training and stuff. So, yeah, definitely a tough balancing act.
How'd you do on the midterm? Did you get your grades yet?
I think I did all right. I'll find out this next week. So.
Okay, good stuff.
It's been a long time since I've been in school, so it's
for sure. It's it's schools. There's very few people who like tests and things like that. I didn't like school, so that's why I'm here talking to you. And speaking of which, you haven't fought in a while. We haven't seen you since May of 2016. What's sort of been the reason for the layoff?
Well, right after the fight, I was getting probably about a month after. I was getting back into the gym, starting to get ready. I started sparring again and working pretty hard, working on my conditioning. And then I ruptured my left bicep tendon, distal bicep tendon, and that put me out for quite a while. I ended up having surgery in like November 2016, and then that until about I'd say May of 2017, I wasn't really able to use my left arm like I wanted to. And then right when I started getting back, started strength and conditioning, getting that arm back into shape, I had kind of a setback like in November, December, where I lost a lot of range of mobility in the arm. And so I kind of had to start back over from square one and figure out what was going on with my arm. So I ended up going out to the UFC Performance Institute in January, get some treatment done. Also worked with them a little bit on my nutrition plan and stuff like that, strength conditioning plan while I was there as well. But then January of this year, after I went out there, I also was working with a sports spine guy here, got the arm operating properly, and then now I'm back at it and trying to get back into it. So.
That's crazy, man. I mean, I'm glad everything's healthy now, but that's a long time to be on the sidelines with an injury. How taxing was that mentally, just having to see the heavyweight division sort of move on while you're out injured?
Yeah, it was definitely tough. It was because I really wanted to get back in. The way the last fight ended, after I sat back and thought about it, I was like, that was just. I felt I was still mutually combative with Adam. We were putting on a great show. We were both tired. I mean, I was bleeding, but it was just the way it was ended just was a difficult pill to swallow.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think, too, we haven't seen your best performance yet in the UFC, and that's why I like this matchup. You're taking on Rashad Coulter, who's also had a bit of a layoff himself. How do you feel like you match up against him in this fight?
I feel we match up pretty well. We're both big, strong, powerful guys. I know he likes to throw. He's got heavy hands. I got heavy hands. I can take a punch. He can take a punch. I think it's going to see who's going to withstand that first onslaught, and impose their will upon the other person. So.
And we talked about you being out for a while, but I'm sure, you're still going to the gym, at least, trying to learn things, trying to improve. What's one thing that you're looking to showcase in this fight, or what's one thing you feel like you've improved on since we last saw you in the cage?
Being that I wasn't able to use my arm, I really focused on my ground game quite a bit. I've been trying to earn my brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's been a while, so I've been really focusing on the Jiu-Jitsu. I've done one competition since I've gotten my arm back into shape, and I'm feeling pretty strong, confident in my ground game. So.
And where are you training right now, and who are some of your main training partners for this fight?
So I own my own gym. Forge Combat Academy. I have a few guys that are coming in that work with me pretty regularly. John Sheldon, Ian Vossler. I have a couple guys, David Jackson, who's an ex-trailblazer that trains at our gym, that's been working with me and stuff. And then I have some guys that I bring in for sparring from down in Oregon, local guys that fight boxing and MMA here, Rico Martinez and David Olaf. So,
Nice.
yeah.
That's good. That's a good mix of guys there. You mentioned working with the Performance Institute as far as your diet and everything like that. What's one thing that you're kind of missing right now that you can't eat during training camp?
It's actually what was surprising about the whole Performance Institute when I went to the diet. I actually wanted to keep my weight on. The hardest part for me is maintaining weight. A lot of times I was weighing in at like 235, 230. So when we sat down and they told me I needed to eat about 4,700 calories to 6,000 calories a day, depending on my demand, I kind of was like, whoa, because on average I was maybe eating 3,200 calories a day. So that's been an adjustment there. And the fact that they said that there's really nothing you can't eat, but I usually eat pretty clean anyway, so I try to avoid the sugary stuff and that type of stuff. So for me, I'm a person that stays in shape. I try to stay in shape and I eat healthy. And I'm just constantly working. It's part of my life. It's my habit, So
okay. So no vices at all. No like beer, pizza, ice cream, anything like that.
I won't lie. I have ice cream crutch. That was one of the things that I discussed with them about ice cream.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like look, we can go on this diet and everything, but we got to get some ice cream in there somewhere.
Yeah. So yeah, that definitely is a crutch. The ice cream. Plus, my kids are big ice cream fanatics. So it's can we have dessert after dinner? So it's definitely tough. I cut it back a little bit. So
who's gonna be in your corner for this fight?
I'm gonna have my boxing coach Rudy Garza. My grappling coach is Ian Vossler, who's my head coach, and then John Sheldon, who's my jiu-jitsu coach.
Excellent. And how do you see this fight playing out on June 9th? It's heavyweights. I mean, we're probably going to expect a knockout in this one, but how do you sort of see this one unfolding?
I see us coming out, giving an exchange. It's gonna be a test of our chins to see who. I feel if I get it to the ground, I don't feel he's gonna have. And I honestly am truly invested in my grappling and my ground game. Matter of getting him there. Once we end up there on the ground, that'll be, I think, lights out for me. It'll be the end of the show.
How much more is left in your career? I mean, you had this layoff, but I'm sure you can't help but notice. You're 39 years of age. I'm sure you're kind of thinking ahead here. I mean, I know it's rude to ask a woman her age, but for guys, we can get away with it a little bit. What's sort of the game plan for the next couple of years? How much longer do you see yourself fighting?
I don't see myself doing it for much longer. It's stressful on myself, my family. My wife hates it. She loves it, but she hates it. She's pretty supportive. I'm 39. I'm an old man. I got started late in the sport. For me, this whole thing has been just a tidal wave run. However far it took me. I went into it with no expectations. For me, it was just more of a challenge to myself to see if I could do it. I set some goals for myself probably about 12 years ago, and I pretty much accomplished every single one of them. So.
What do you like doing on your downtime? Are you watching any Netflix or playing any video games, anything like that? I know you got kids, so it's difficult, and you go to school and everything else. So.
I watched some Netflix. I think I've burned out Netflix a little bit. I haven't watched too much, but I record, like Walking Dead and Forged in Fire, those type of shows. That's kind of when I have downtime, I'll squeeze something like that in. I like those type of shows. So.
We certainly like this card. It's a UFC 225 coming up here on June 9th. Chris, it was great getting a chance to talk to you, man. Just remind people where they can find you on social media, and if you got any sponsors or shout-outs, the floor is yours.
Chris De La Rocha on Facebook, and then also same on Instagram. I want to thank Victory Sport and Spine, Dr. Dustin Henry. He's really helping me out, keeping me in shape, and keeping my body running right. I want to thank McDonald Excavating. They're helping me out and supporting me through all my fights. My wife, she's an awesome. We're about going on 17 years of marriage.
Nice.
So, but yeah, And so that's about it. And I want to thank all my coaches and all my friends and family for supporting me.
What's up, fight fans? If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to see even more interviews with your favorite UFC and Bellator fighters. We've also got coverage at events, including post-fight press conferences and media scrums. And if you like this video, check out the video to my right. It's worth your time.